daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. Eat women, eat girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. And you know, we are all about funding women. And today I have an amazing entrepreneur. She's here in West Hollywood. She went from accountant to launching her dream business. We're never too old to do that, ladies. Please welcome to the show, Patricia Catallo Lopez, the owner of franchise Better Than Sex in LA. Hi, Patricia. How are you?
Hi, Catherine. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great, great. And I think the very first thing we need to do is let people know what Better Than Sex is.
That's probably a good idea.
Dessert restaurant, right?
Yes, it can get confusing. I get a lot of calls asking, so what goes on in there? I know we're just a dessert restaurant. We also have a full liquor license. So there's wine, cocktails, the perfect place to go after dinner or instead of dinner with your date or friends.
Yeah, it's a really cool place. I love the ambiance. It's very romantic. It's great for couples. It's a cool place.
Thank you.
I love the story of how you started this business, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are accountants or doing some sort of job they've been doing for, probably 20 years or more. And they have some dream, idea for a business like you did. And so we're going to talk about how you were bold enough to start that, in your 40s and take the plunge. So you were actually born in Los Angeles, right?
Yes, born and raised in Los Angeles. It's very rare around here. Everyone's usually a transplant from somewhere else, trying to make it big in some way or another. But exactly. Yes, I am from here. I'm an alien. Yes.
Very
cool. The odd ones that's from here.
You had shared with me how you found out about this franchise. So I want to get to that. But first, I want to talk about what prompted you to launch your own business, because a lot of people have a lot of fear around that. And you had shared a very personal story with me about, your your dad and your sister were ill. And tell me that story.
Okay. So, I'd been an accountant for 15 years and it was sucking the life out of my soul. And I had always been thinking, like, what else can I do? And every time I went to go think or have an idea, I was like, okay, I have to start over. And then my salary is going to be cut in half. And how do I do that? I just have bought a condo and all those things. So I just kept pushing it back. And then my sister became ill. She had brain cancer. And then at the same time, thank you. At the same time, my dad had been bedridden with Parkinson's for a few years. Oh, and just the culmination of that, I ended up taking some time off work to spend time with them. And just with all of that happening, my sister passed first in 2018. You just kind of realize, you only live once. Do I want to be sitting behind a desk and counting other people's money for a living? I mean, that's great for people who want to do that. And it served me well for a very long time, but I just knew that I had to find something more of a passion project, something with more meaning for me. And
oddly enough, we relate, because I lost my sister in 2018 as well, the same year. And I agree with you. It makes us reassess our life, right? Like, wow, this life is short. And are we doing what we love, and how important it is to be doing that? So I'm sorry that it took that wake up call, but I'm so happy for you that it made you reassess, your life and what you were doing with it and how precious it is. So thank you for sharing that. So did they get to see you launch this business?
They did not. My sister passed in 2018, which is the same year that I discovered Better Than Sex in Key West. Right around this time, I had gone on vacation in Miami with my husband, for my birthday, and we drove through the Keys and we saw this gorgeous red building. And I was like, that's really pretty. I wonder what it is. And then we saw the sign, better than sex. Okay, well, now we really need to know what it is. And so I Googled it and desserts. So I walked in and it's just, the ambiance is amazing, dimly lit, candles, chandeliers, some of the most delicious drinks and desserts I've ever had. And I was like, why don't we have this in LA? And why didn't I think about this? This is genius. So I went to their website to buy some merch, and then I saw that they were franchising. So I made the call and we started the ball rolling from there. So because that was in 2018, and it took a little bit of time to find a location, to, sign all the legal requirements and everything. And then a little thing happened called the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it kind of set us back a little bit. And so my dad and my sister both knew what was going to happen because the ball was definitely rolling. But unfortunately, he passed early in 2020, and we didn't open until March of 2021. So they were unable to see it, but they did know that was my intention for my life.
Oh, I'm so glad that they at least knew about it and knew your intentions, and maybe knew that they had, in some way inspired you to do that. So yeah, that was really bold. And, gosh, the pandemic really did set people back. I applaud you that you plowed through that and continued on with your dream anyway. And you had mentioned that this little cafe that you're talking about, they're often common in places like Europe, but not really here, and how perfect it would be for LA. So, I actually found out about you from the West Hollywood Chamber. So they were having some awards, and people said, it was like, which one are you going to vote for the best new business? And I saw Better Than Sex LA, and I'm like, what is that? I'm voting for it, And
based on the name alone, why not?
It just sounded interesting. And I knew it was a dessert place. So I thought, oh, I really want to go there and check that out. It seemed like such a cool idea, especially that you have the cocktails too. And I love how you discovered it on your vacation. There's so many times that we're all running at such a fast pace that sometimes it is on vacation when you have that, aha moment that like
that's
you
so
had.
True.
Yeah. And so I'd always like to talk on this show about how people got resources. And you had shared with me about getting the pandemic, what do you call it? Financing packages.
PPP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I imagine that was helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. So, when it started, I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. I also didn't know all the hoops that the city of LA have to jump through to make sure that everything's up to the right standards. So I did have some money set aside and went through that like wildfire. And then because of the pandemic, they had the PPP program and the SBA was giving grants. So fortunately, and it really did help me being a woman-owned business. They kind of take priority to that, trying to help small businesses, minority-owned, women-owned. And I was able to get 2 paycheck protection loans and also a grant from the SBA. That was really helpful in enabling me to continue on.
That's great. I talk about this every week about the various kinds of funding. In fact, I just launched an e-course called 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, because I think so many women have great ideas, but they don't know how to get the funding. It's kind of a world unknown to them. So I tried to make it like really simple to understand in this e-course, which is on our website, sheangelinvestors.com. And people have told me, oh, I wish I had this when I started my business. And this is a great information because you've made it easy to understand, because I kind of put it in lay terms so that even, so I could understand it myself, So I do think it's important for us to have resources that explain and educate women on the funding world, because funding is essential to launching a business, of course. And I'm glad that you're talking about SBA loans, because a lot of people don't talk about that. And about as many women as men get SBA loans, which is great because it means it's a good avenue for women to try. Typically, the SBA loan is not as big as for men. So, hello, that's pretty typical in everything in the world and in every vertical. But at least it is a good option because often people think about venture capital, which is where we get less than 3%. Women do. And it's difficult to get venture capital unless your, business is already thriving and doing millions of dollars. So SBA loans is a great way to go. What was your experience with that? Is that something you were able to apply for online or in person with a bank, or how did you do that?
I was able to just do that online. My accountant actually sent me a link and said, hey, did you hear about this? Did you should check this out? And I hadn't heard about it. I'd already gotten the PPP loans and I was like, wow, I'm definitely going to check this out. It literally took like not even 15 minutes to fill everything out. They made it so easy. And I was funded within 2 weeks.
Wow, that's great. What are your next steps? Are you ever going to look for angel investors, or how are you going to grow the business? Are you just going to grow it organically from this point? What is your game plan?
Well, right now we had a really nice influx from Valentine's Day, President's Day. We had a party for local concierge to come in and check us out. We also started opening on Tuesdays. So I'm hoping to grow it organically, using that as a catalyst. But if not, you did tell me about crowdfunding and a couple other plans, and I will look into those the next few months if necessary.
Yeah, crowdfunding can definitely be a great way, either regular crowdfunding or equity crowdfunding. That way people feel like they're kind of like a part owners of your business when it's equity crowdfunding. So then they become loyal customers, tell other people about it. So I always think that is something worth looking into and educating yourself about to see if it makes sense. Because there's a big difference between regular crowdfunding and equity crowdfunding. And it's good to know the differences when people are going that route. But yeah, great options for sure. What would be your advice to someone who, is in a job that they're, maybe they're kind of like getting weary of, and they have this great idea for a business and they want to launch it? As someone who kind of went for it, what would your suggestions be? And do you recommend doing franchise ownership?
I definitely do. For me, because I had never been in the restaurant industry before, it definitely was a smart thing. A lot of people said, why don't you just open your own restaurant? Well, because, I don't have any experience. So with my accounting background and with their help, because franchise really do guide you through every step of the process, I would definitely recommend it in an industry that you don't have experience in, because if it was just me opening a restaurant on my own, I don't think it would, for sure, it wouldn't have made it through the pandemic. But franchising is really great for that reason.
And what does the franchise provide to you? Is it like marketing help, how to set up the restaurant, how to set up your menus, how to run your staff? Like, what kind of support does a franchise give you?
Basically all of that. I went to management training for a month with my other management in the beginning before we opened. And then they provide a list of all the equipment you need. They help with the floor plan, just everything, every step of the process. Said, okay, like these are the chandeliers that I found. What do you think of these curtains? Does it match the vibe? And so just everything. And also they set up the menu for me, a lot of admin help with setting up employees and payroll, every step of the way.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
Resource.
Yeah. So if it's like a niche that you really are not familiar with, then really a franchise is a great way to go.
Yes, definitely.
And what is Better Than Sex doing? Are they opening in other cities? If someone's listening and they want to open up a dessert shop in their town, is it expanding?
Yes, they are expanding. So the original locations are in Key West and Florida. They've been around for 15 and 10 years respectively. Just maybe 5 years ago at the most, they started franchising Savannah, Georgia, Plano, Texas, us, and they just opened in Greenville, South Carolina. And I think they are looking at other locations as well.
Very cool. So someone could look that up, and it would be, what is their website?
It is www.betterthansexdesserts.com. And you can click on each location specific and get all the information on us.
Very cool. And how do we follow you on social media?
We are on Instagram at Better Than Sex LA, and also on Facebook, Better Than Sex, a dessert restaurant, Los Angeles.
Okay, terrific. And if somebody wants to have an event there or some sort of gathering, is that something they would contact you about?
Yes, definitely. The restaurant number is on Yelp, or 323-601-7138. We have a small private room. We call it the Nookie Room, that seats up to 12 people. We do have a back patio that we can tent for 25 people, and our inside seats 50.
Fantastic. And so what are some of the desserts you guys serve?
So all the desserts have very sexy names, kind of cheeky. We have fun with it. And, it's not vulgar. We call it sophisticated sexy. And so there is one of the most popular desserts is called Missionary Crisp. It is apple crisp with our house-made caramel sauce. We have Between My Red Velvet Sheets cheesecake, which is a beautiful cheesecake with edible red glitter and a double chocolate cookie dough crust. It just very much takes like the flavors that are comforting to you and elevating a little bit and making a little bit different. So we have an Oreo bread pudding called Double Stuffed. Everyone loves that. Who doesn't love to be reminded of being a kid and eating Oreos? And the chocolate chip cookie pie, the cookie nookie. It's very fun. People love it. People just come and sit and read the menu for like the whole time they're there and just giggle. And it's a really nice icebreaker, a really nice respite from all the things that are going on in the world.
Absolutely. We could use a little lightness and fun and sexiness. Yeah. Well, what a fun company for you to be affiliated with. And it definitely is an icebreaker to tell people the name of your company. You and I actually met at a She Angels Foundation event, which is our nonprofit that funds female founded nonprofits that are helping women. And you were so kind as to purchase one of our auction items, which I think was a trip to Antigua, right?
Yes.
Yes. Have you planned that yet?
No, I have not. And when I saw it, I love to travel, and I haven't really had much of opportunity being busy with the restaurant. And to be honest, before that, I didn't know where it was. I was like, this is a good cause. It's a donation, it's a write-off, and I can maybe go have some fun for a few days.
I love it. Well, my friends just got back from there. I think they got one at another silent auction, and they had a blast. So I think you're in for a good time.
Yes, I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
Well, and everybody's in for a good time to go visit Better Than Sex LA, or see if one's in your city, or even look it up and start your own franchise, right?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Hello.
So go in and say hi to Patricia. And everybody just remember to invest in her. I always say support women-owned businesses. And of course, follow us, Catherine Gray, Invest in Her on Instagram, and She Angel Investors on the other Facebook and Twitter and so forth. And we will see you online. We hope you check us out at sheangelinvestors.com and our program called 6 Ways to Fund Your Business. Everybody make it a great week and go visit Better Than Sex LA. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
And remember to check out the Wealthy Women Summit put on by our podcast sponsor, the Bra Network. Here's a message from their founder, Carrie Murray.
I know we've all been to hundreds of conferences. Just hearing the word conference, and you can picture the lanyard and the name tag and the taste of cold coffee. You wrap up, you post on Instagram, maybe you get a swag bag. You leave thinking, well, now that I'm empowered, what's next? How does this help my growth, both personally and professionally? Well, it's time to change things up. It's time to shake things out. Prosperity plus abundance. Flourish plus consciousness. That is the Wealthy Women Summit, set for August 25th and 26th in the beautiful Long Beach Harbor. Right next to the Queen Mary, docked is the Sir Winston Yacht, because nothing says a conference about wealth than a conference that takes place on a yacht. We are going to have panels and speakers and workshops on all the different decks. everything to help you cultivate a life that is more than just wealth, meaning the money you have in the bank, but wealth in mind and body, wealth in leadership and growth, wealth in health, wealth in life. We want to provide you with a full experience of living a wealthy lifestyle. Now, I want you to head over to the wewosummit.com website. It's WeWo, WEWO, summit.com, and use promo code INVEST to get 15% off your ticket to this very unique experience. See you this summer.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.